Sometimes when you realize something for the first time, there's a big aha, right? And there's relief, and there's like, you feel like a burden dropped, and there's all these experiential byproducts because of the newness of it. And if you're not careful, you'll think that all those experiential byproducts are the thing itself, right? And if you think that, then you'll keep chasing after those. I think of that as like chasing after the first kiss. There's only one first kiss, though. You don't get two, right? Because number 2 is the second kiss. It's not the first. So it takes some clarity. And even after people have one of these kind of shifts, often it will take them some real time to get clear about it, to get really clear about it. Because very often people will chase the byproduct of that kind of acknowledgement. And those byproducts might last hours, days, weeks, months, or a year or two. And because it can last quite a while, you'll think that's it. And when they start to dissipate, then you might think you're losing something. And then you'll ask the dear teacher, how do I get back that experience? You're basically asking, how can I have the experience of the first kiss again? Well, you might be able to perform one of what I think of as spiritual chiropractic maneuvers of your consciousness and sort of click yourself into aha, sort of re-recognition. Then you'll feel really good because you go, oh, aha, oh yes, what's always and already here, and I've got it, and oh yeah, okay, now I'm safe and I'm comfortable and really, really, really good. But meanwhile, you're in a total state of denial that you're going to lose all those experiential byproducts again and probably be in the same place you were just in, right? But if you go through the washing machine of that experience for a while, you start to get clear on even the really cool experiences that can be part of a real spiritual opening. Those are wonderful experiences, and then definitely have them. Don't try not to have experience. That's not what I'm saying. Have them, but don't mistake them for the truth of your being. Otherwise, when they start to dissipate, you'll convince yourself you lost something. But if you don't do that, then even when they dissipate, actually the truth of your being will get more clear, not less clear. Because it won't be sort of wonderfully and beautifully clouded over by a whole bunch of sort of experiential byproduct experience. Like I said, relief and the feeling of first experienced freedom and all that kind of stuff. And you'll say, oh, always and already means always and already. And so always and already means even when I feel like I've lost something, I haven't. I can only lose a particular experience. I can't lose that clear, empty, conscious space in which those experiences come and go. Now, for the ego, that's kind of a tough thing to swallow, because the ego is completely addicted to experience. And it says, I want that, right? It's like a immature lover. Have you ever met immature lovers? And I don't mean that, when you were 16, that's an immature lover too, but I mean a lover who never grew up, who never really discovered what love was. They're still mistaking love for the blush of the first good kiss or romantic evening or whatever it was. And your hormones are going and you can't eat because your tummy's turning upside down. And it's a wonderful thing, that what we call falling in love, But an immature lover endlessly mistakes love for the experience of falling in love. Now, those of you in this room that have been with somebody a long, long time, that have loved for decades maybe, or years, I hope, that love transcends the blush of the first kiss and the rush of the hormones and all that beautiful stuff, which is not to be missed. But it's, some people do, they mistake that for love. And so they go around, they're 60 years old, and they're still trying to have that experience over and over and over. And they think something's wrong with everybody they meet because the person can't sustain the experience of the first blush of love for them. They're like, okay, you couldn't do it either. I'll move on to the next and the next and the next and the next. That's what I call an immature lover. It's like somebody who's still 16, but they might be in like a 75-year-old body or a 50-year-old body or whatever. A mature lover goes, okay, that was a wonderful opening of the door of love, and that's a wonderful thing, and that's a beautiful experience of being. But that opened the door of it. How many times do I need to keep opening the door? Perhaps I should just walk in the damn room and find out what's in there beyond the getting in the doorway, beyond the first step over the threshold, right? What is this thing really? And then, well, love becomes something different. It can still have the sparkle of that sort of first encounter. It's not like that necessarily just totally dissipates, but it becomes something far different. Far, far better. Infinitely better. And so spiritual, there's a correspondence to that, and even in spiritual realization. If we mistake the first blush, the byproducts of first discovery, with that which we've discovered, then we remain kind of an immature lover, an immature realizer. We may have realized something, but we can remain in a kind of immature state. Basically in an egoic tantrum underneath saying, I want it to be this way all the time. Right? I want it to feel like, oh my God, all the time. Right? Immature. Sorry, you're not going to get much past the threshold of the doorway of reality doing that. So experience teaches all of us that. And then we start to let go of that. And we move beyond the sort of ego mind into just being what we are. And then that matures for a while. And somewhere along the line, I'm not saying it always unfolds in the sequence that I'm describing, but it very often does. Something like the sequence I'm describing unfolds this way. And then at some point, being this sort of vast expanse of a kind of conscious, or just consciousness, right? It's kind of like being a conscious, awake, alive, vibrant nothing. And boy, is it a great nothing to be. But at some point, it starts to dawn on you that, okay, that this, I am the nothing as opposed to everything else. Something doesn't quite add up. There's still some division. Maybe this isn't the entire picture. Not that I have to throw away what I've realized, but maybe there's more to the picture here. And when that starts to dawn on you, maybe there is more to the picture here. Maybe it's just not this stark duality that I have going, being the aware, awake nothing of consciousness and the everything of existence, the stuff, the form of existence. That's a fundamental duality. And that interest, that when that arises in you, that starts to help. There's a clutching that you don't even know is happening. It's deep in the unconscious. It's holding on to the new identity of kind of formlessness, because it's And you can understand why, because life's a rough ride sometimes. And you come into contact with something that's never been harmed and can't be harmed ever, and is always there, and something that somebody can't give you and can't take away from you, you're not quick to see something deeper. It is such an amazing relief and security to, for lack of a better word, experience something like that, that one is not quick to let it go, and nor should we be quick to let it go. But it does arise, like there's maybe more to the story, and so just that curiosity starts to loosen this sort of unconscious holding on to the new identity as formless awareness. And that it's not that the formless awareness identity has to go anywhere, it's just the clutching at it starts to loosen. And if it loosens, then the kind of witness position, because there's a certain positionality in it. The position relinquishes itself, and the witnessing collapses into the witnessed. It's really almost kind of like the first one that I just described, it's an ascendant movement, right? It's total transcendence. It's the realization, I'm not body, I'm not the mind, I'm not this experience, I'm not. The whole world of form, gross and subtle, is not your true identity. And boom, there's pure awareness. That's a totally ascendant, transcendent experience, right? That's the sort of movement. If you could track someone's energy when they realize that, their energy is literally something is going up and out of the body. And very literally, I mean, you can't see it, but if you've experienced it, you can, and someone's happening for someone, you can participate, and you know it's boom, it's going up and out and leaving. And and there's a great tendency you want to stay there because it's a kind of heaven, because it's never been touched and it's never been harmed and it's free from everything that's painful and all that. But then the deeper movement starts to come, and this relinquishing of holding on to that position happens. And when the holding starts to be relinquished, you have its corollary opposite. It's descent. It's the descending movement, and it descends, you might say, down into the heart. And as it descends down, and when it hits the perceptual kind of there's a perceptual mechanism that lies dormant in human beings, and it's somewhere in here. It's it's a way of perceiving, right? That's when this descent happens, starts to come alive, and when the heart starts to awaken, and the witness collapses into the witnessed, then we start to be perceiving, it's almost literally through the heart, and seeing through the heart. Then there's no position as the witness, and then the witnessed and what is witnessed are seen to be one. They're the same. How could they be the same, but they are the same? And then the old teachings that you started with don't apply anymore, right? Not this, not that is not the teaching you need anymore. It's more like, and this, and that, right? But if you start with and this, and that, you tend to just get confused. It doesn't work out that well more often than not. But so it's this grand inclusion, and it's the waking up of a perceptual capacity from the heart that sees sort of the underlying unity of existence. And experientially, it's something kind of like, not that you're saying this stuff to yourself, I'm just trying to articulate it. It's something like you look up at the tree and it feels as if the tree is seeing itself. Or you look under the sky and it feels as though the sky is seeing itself. Or you touch something and you feel as though what you're touching is feeling itself. There's no subject-object relationship going on anymore. There's just one seamless thing, whatever you want to call that. Ramana called it the self, the Buddhists called it Buddha nature, whatever you want to call it. But it's the perception of just, you could even call it just life. Take all the spiritual connotations out of it. Life experiencing itself. Oh, I thought I was apart from life. I thought life was something that I was in and trying to negotiate. That's the egoic perspective. And now I see that I am actually life itself. The whole of it, and also appearing as a particular part at the same time. How cool is that? You get to play both sides. And that's a matter of this perceptual mechanism sort of waking up here.